Good morning. Couple of things. The music that was playing, who was playing that, Kim or David? Yeah. Maybe it's time to remind you. This is the sound that you want to feel and not listen to. We have a habit, we want to listen to music, which is an intellectual pursuit. Okay. What you want to do is feel. One of the things I've said to you is that all things are a vibration. All things. A vibration. Okay. How do you get to understand things? By allowing the vibration to speak to you. Allowing it to speak to you. Now, it's not going to be in English or Spanish or French or German. It's going to write, if it is the right sound, it will write your body. It will make it happen correctly. Part of our problem is our internal dialogue changes all that. The things that we say to ourselves, the negative things we say to ourselves. We set up a negative world within when we're always thinking about struggle and strife and fighting and not being natural to ourselves. We're setting up a universe inside that is not natural. And the result of that is you create a problem, excuse me. But it's not only that. It is, pardon me, it is the vibrational frequencies around you that are unnatural. It is cars honking. It is people being negative. It is sounds of jackhammers. It is all of these things that set up unnatural vibration. So, one of the things that we can use is chakra tapes. Just sit and let it bathe you. You don't have to listen to it. Someone says, well, I don't like the way it sounds. Well, you're not supposed to like it or dislike it. You're supposed to absorb it. Allow it to tune, if you will, your vibration. If you allow it to tune it, tune the chakras, and the chakras generate the energy for a specific body system. Okay. If you'll notice, the systems of the body are just a little off, a little different in color from each other, a little bit, not a whole lot. That is the difference in vibrational frequency. So, what I'm going to do, let's see, how am I going to do it? I hope that someone coming here, I'll wait for them to come in so we don't get distracted by it. We'll do a little experiment with you. Let's just hum. I want you to feel it. Now, you may notice that you're out of tune. It's okay. You may notice it's kind of sticky. That may be excess mucus in the body, these kinds of things. Okay. Now, Kim, would you turn that tape back on, please? Tape, you can tell what year I'm still living in. A little louder. Okay. Just close your eyes. Pay attention to your body, not your mind. Your body. Feel. Okay, turn it down. Now, could you feel it, the vibration hitting your body? Is there anyone who could not? Okay. Again, it's not to think about it, but to feel what the body is doing. Right? Where did you feel it in your body?
My diaphragm.
Okay. Where did you feel it in your body? Okay, now we're going to do it again. This time, I want you to go back to your own humming. Now what we want to try and do, because that is a stronger vibration, because it is mechanical, it won't change. And let's see if we can get you on key. Okay, just close your eyes and okay, relax. Would you turn it down, Kim, please? How did that feel? Feel the difference? Yeah, okay. So it is a matter of getting back in tune. And this is one of the ways in which we can do it. Okay. These are designed for the chakras. Now, when we were over on Western, we did Nada Brahma. That is the purpose of Nada Brahma, was to do that. You can, if you still have the Nada Brahma tape, you can do it at home. This is the age of vibration. You know, the symbol is the water bearer, but it is not a water bearer. It's a vibration bearer. It is the change of age. It's the change of time. It's the change of the energies that we utilize. Vibration. If you want to be better, or to think better, or to see better, or to just feel better, do it. You can just do vowels. You know, you start in the morning with ah, E-I-O, in whatever way you choose to do them. But you must relax and let it happen. feeling the sound is most important. And you cannot feel the sound properly if you're busy in your mind with other stuff. And I hear this, people say, well, I've got to get about my day, I got to go to work. Well, consider this as preparation for going to work. Consider this as preparation for going about your day, however you want to do it. Try to restore the natural vibration to your body. Tension destroys your natural vibration. Tension destroys your natural vibration. To be like this, and we are generally, because we live in a society or we live in a world that we consider dangerous. So we're quite often tense. We're quite often struggling with other people in our jobs and in our relationships and what all that is. One point, you will ask the question, is this worth it? Or is it more worth it to restore myself, to be okay within? The vibration will restore, once it comes into the heart center, it restores a cleaner view of love. You feel better, because now love is within you. Quite often, we don't really know what love is. We got it mixed in with a whole bunch of intellectual crap. It's simply a feeling, a pure feeling, like any other feeling. If you are tight, or if you're constantly chattering, you set up blockages to this natural vibration. You no longer can feel it. And when you no longer can feel it, what happens to the body? Think about it. Think about what happens to the body when you're doing this. When there's always chatter about this isn't right, that isn't right, the other isn't right. I ask this question. When was the last time your chattering about it inside yourself has changed it? It has. See, it's about, one of the things is, when we talk about awakening is just being able to see with light. And we come to a point, we say, well, wait a minute. All that hasn't changed anything. What can I do to make the world better? It is make the world better within me. Do the things that I need to do to make my world better. To return to what is natural within my being. What is natural to me. Not natural in here, because this doesn't cut it. It's only words. We have to talk about experiences. We have to talk about experiences. If we were looking for the truth, we have to experience it. In order to experience it, we have to stop talking about it. Let the vibration do what it does naturally, and you will find yourself naturally knowing things. Naturally. I'm not saying that the society as it is set up is wrong. It's what it is. What I am saying is that we have to be able to deal with it without being destroyed in the process. We must understand that there can be no exception to us coming to that point inside. There can be no exception. We make exceptions. We get to a point, well, they just... then you don't understand in terms of your feeling yourself. There can be no exception. Now, we come back to vibrational frequency, we come back to the other technique. When you feel negative things, anger, hostility, fear, what do? You put your attention on the spot where the tension is, and you relax that spot so that the energy begins to move. As the energy begins to move, it reaches its own natural frequency. And that changes things. Its own frequency. You don't have to make it right, you just have to allow it to be. One of the things of using sound allows you to have an idea of what it naturally is. The humming. Okay. Just kind of get in tune as best you can. Hum. Let go. You know, there are all these things that we're afraid of. I was reminded, I believe yesterday, I thought of Freud, Jung, Skinner. They each had a little part of something. But they were off slightly. And I say slightly. To Freud, everything was sexual. Okay? Because you have a problem with sex, this is what all this goes back to. Well, I would say Freud had a problem with sex. That's why that's as far as he took it. And he focused in that area. That problem does not start at that point. That problem starts at birth. It starts at insecurity. Your first experience in physical life is insecurity. The first distortion of natural energy is being born into flesh. It changes the natural vibrational frequency, but not so bad. Okay? Not so bad, it's just a slight distortion, a slight twist. Everything that comes after that that is affected by insecurity changes the vibrational frequency more. And the more tight you become about it, the more the vibration changes. Excuse me for a moment. I'm on a medication that makes you puke, so. I got a little vibrational frequency going on here. Okay. The more you twist that, the more you hold on to that, the more you justify whatever it is that makes you feel bad. And I repeat, whatever it is that makes you feel bad, whatever you hold on to, is your reaction to out here. It doesn't matter. And if you keep blaming out here, you never get past it. You never get past it. Because you can do nothing about out here. You can only do something about what's in here. Those blocks, that anger, that insecurity, that doubt, that fear must be released. And that is what changing the vibrational frequency will do. That is what it will do. You want to go back. to the way you are at birth, or even before birth. You want to go back to that with the experiences that you had, but without hanging on to those things, without making your body tight, without making your body distorted, without making your mind distorted. Your mind is distorted, your body will be distorted. Keep in mind that you have choices in life. The point is, whether you are operating from a position of having the choice, or are you operating from a position of having to do the same thing over and over and over again, making the same choice. See, if you're making the same choice, if you're struggling with that thing inside, then you truly are not choosing. You are being controlled by that thought. We talk about wanting freedom. Well, freedom is inside. Freedom is within. Now, there may be some things that you don't want to do or that you do want to do. The problem is if you cannot do other than what you've already been doing, then it's not a choice. Then that gestalt is tight. You are not free. Free from oneself. That was the message of the Buddha, the Christ, and all great thinkers. That is the message. What is it you want to do? There has to be a spark within every individual. That spark to want to know and to want to be better. Is there a possibility of getting some cold water? Thank you. Forgive me, this medicine sucks. But if successful, we'll be through with some other medicine, so we'll do it. What do you want? What do you really, really want? The investigation Thank you. If you, and I want you have to understand this within. If you are playing the game of process, it's not going to work for you. You have to really want to know. The greatest spark I know is when you have nothing else to live for. No more lies to tell yourself. When there are no more lies to tell yourself, then you want to know. If you can still play games and tell yourself lies, you don't want to know. You may say you want to know, but then again, that's one of the lies. You are something that you have to give yourself to totally. You are something that you must give yourself to totally. I want you like this. Relaxed and open. When you are relaxed and open, you can receive. See, all the truth, everything is right here. This whole thing is a vibration. If you can think of it, it is a vibration. Vibration carries messages. If you touch something, you can tell basically if it's a fabric, or if it's a rock, or if it's a piece of iron, or if it's a gem, or if it's skin, or there is information in the vibration. Now, one of the things that we know in science is that nothing ever touches anything else. That is the energy that is sensed by an energy sensor and coded. So nothing ever really touches. So it is the information contained in the vibration, in the energy, if you will, that gives you that information. So when you let down, you let go, you relax. When you no longer have anything to defend, you can receive more information. Okay, and this is a prerequisite to wanting to know. Those of you who read the Bible or some other books, there were people who changed, but only when something catastrophic happened to them. Some guy was on the way to somewhere and got knocked off a horse by light. Okay, well, I forgot his name, but I don't know, some guy. Yeah, him. Okay. I'm usually not real good with names because I don't care who, I care what. So it's what that's important. And I think that is one of the things that we should understand about ourselves. And when we speak to each other, it's not about who, it's about what. When I talk to you, I'm talking to you about a law, I'm talking to you about something. If you take that personally, you'll miss the point. What is it you want to do? We can fight and fight and fight and fight as much as we want. It's not going to work. The fighting won't work. Okay? Only letting go will work. When you have nothing left to lose, and you accept that you have nothing left to lose, you let go of the stress. You let go of the things in your body, and your body begins to return to its natural frequency. And in returning to its natural frequency, it gives you natural messages. Sometimes those messages are maybe a little late in our life, but better late than never. And the other thing we want to know about vibration, and I'm trying to give you a line now. One of the things you know about vibration, it's there forever. Energy changes form. It is never destroyed. It simply changes form. And what you are is an energy, is a vibration. That's what you are. This is a distortion of the natural vibration. And I'm not saying distortion in a negative sense. It's just different. It's just different. This is meant to be enjoyed. This. When you cannot enjoy it, something is wrong. That will injure you. One of the problems that we have in our society is the misuse of the distortion of the sexual vibration or sexual energy. And maybe I shouldn't say sexual energy, but I should say creative energy, because that's what it really is. The energy of creation. We are taught that it's wrong. That's a lie. It's that simple. It's a lie. But what it does create is blockages in this area, so that we never get the full impact of our creative energy all the way through. That creative energy doesn't come into here, doesn't come into our heart center or into our throat center, because we've distorted it here. Now, it is understandable that in order to build a society, that people have to have a certain amount of restraint in their youth in order to fit into the way society is. I think the problem is when we tell people it's wrong and it becomes entangled in our insecurity, so it doesn't flow. It's not wrong. It's just maybe you should need to think about this. When you raise a child, think about this. Think about your life and talk to them in that way, as opposed to, this is wrong, you're going to go to hell if you do it, and that's crap. You know, then you get guys like me who used to do it in the church to see what God would do. Never said anything but amen. We are afraid. And we are afraid, we're tense. That kills you, both physically and emotionally. We need to restore by learning to relax. You can tell where the tension lies in a person's body. Now, when you get older, it's going to be, stuff is going to come apart, all right? So don't think you're going to live forever. By the illnesses they carry, you can tell where the tension is, or where the effort is. Mine is my heart. The heart is a symbol of love and of caring. And I have to say, I've taken on that load, and that's okay. It's all right. I didn't do it out of ignorance. I knew when I did it. We accept responsibility for our actions. This is the way it is. Now, what we need to do is recognize what we've done and give our best effort at trying to undo that for our own good. The individual, not as a collective, but each individual must do that. Each individual. It's not a group thing. We cannot expect all of America to stand up and change to do the right thing. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but it will happen one individual at a time when people search for the truth. All truth is in the vibration. You live in a soup of intelligence. All you need to do is clear the path for that information to be transformed, for that information to be transformed. And receive it. Kevin and I were talking earlier about question and answer. Answers are there. What is a question? A question is looking, I suppose. Something like that. The answers are already there. What will you do to receive them? What will an individual do? You got to be honest. And here's a common mistake. People come to me and say, I just want to be honest. It's not about being honest with me. It's about being honest with yourself. See, it's my phone, so. It's about being honest with yourself. What do you do? What is it I do that causes these blockages, that causes the vibration in me to be balled up? What do I do? What do I do to cause this tension within myself? What do I do? It's all about you. That's something we have to remember. It's all about you. It's not about anyone else. It's not about the world. It's about what you do to either free yourself or to enslave yourself. How serious is this for you? And I say serious, I don't mean serious. I mean so that you focus. Now, we've stratified a lot of this stuff. We stratified it in terms of vibrational frequency. We've stratified it in terms of psychology. I have, because I want you to see the layers through which we see things. Some of it is just fear. Most of it is just fear. Well, fear comes from insecurity. The next time you feel insecure, feel it. Feel it. Then you get to know what that vibrational frequency feels like. You get to know and you get to understand. The way out of any situation is to understand the situation. If you don't understand the situation, you can never get out. Ever. It's understanding. It's not force. It's not kicking the door down. It's understanding. So it is a gentle operation, not a forceful operation. It is gentle. Treat yourself kindly. If you feel these vibrations freely, you will treat yourself kindly and you will treat others kindly. That's as far as I'm going to go with that right now. So I ask you, do you have any questions about what I've said? Anna?
You said it's all about you?
Yes.
So does that mean a person who's selfish and self-centered is a step ahead?
No. No. When I say it's all about you in the investigation. A person will see themselves self-centered and selfish if the investigation is proper. What I'm saying when I say it's all about you is that you're not going to solve the problem out here of how you feel. You're only going to solve it in here. So you have to pay attention to what you are doing, because we Too often we blame others. Well, you know, it's you. I would be much better off if it weren't for you. I would be blah 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 if it wasn't for my mother or my father. No, it's about the things that you learn to do inside of yourself that prevent you from feeling good, and that's your only opportunity. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Seeing. You see when you don't carry too much weight. It's like if you're about to step off the curb in front of a car and all of a sudden you step back. You didn't say, oh, there's a car. You saw. And you moved back. Even before you recognize linearly that it's a car approaching. Information is given to you. And even at that, no, you don't curse the car. You stepped off the curb. Okay? You have to take responsibility. A warrior takes responsibility. The greatest warriors are people who understand responsibility. When I was teaching martial arts and people would complain, well, they cheated me. And I said, well, they only cheated you because he hit you. If you had stopped him from hitting you. There's a story. When I first made brown belt, I'd been in the North for quite a while. I forgot about how the South was, and I went to fight in a tournament in the South. I drove all night, was pretty tired the next day, so I was just sitting there kind of nodding, and they called me to fight. And I went out, and I scored the first point on this guy. Scored another. They never called it, but he never hit me. And as I left the ring, the guy said, by God, nigga, we didn't intend for you to win that. Aha. Okay. The next fight, I promptly went out and knocked the guy out. The next one, I promptly went out and knocked him out. Now there's a point. Same guy says, as I was leaving the ring after the second knockout, said, by God, somebody better get that nigga a point before he hurts somebody. Now, the warrior was not upset by being called a nigger. The warrior says, this is where I am. These are the conditions in which I'm in. Do what you do. Do what you do. All right? That will show them what you think of them. Let them deal with that. I'm dealing with this. Now I'm just trying to explain to you a warrior's attitude. The attitude of a warrior is stable. It's clear. Everything passes through. Things don't stick. So it doesn't matter where it comes from, what line of reality, dreams, it doesn't matter. The warrior is stable. The warrior is what is. If you knock him out, it's okay. If you need to, it's okay. It's all right. If there's a need, this is life. How did you feel in your heart before you knocked him out?
It was good.
Okay. It's okay. You see, we have experiences in life. We're quite guilty of saying, this is right and this is wrong. It all depends on where you are, you see. When a person is in process of learning, there are things that you go through. You know, you go through things. You come out of those things. You come out cleaner because you've had the experience. If you learn from the experience. Okay, so there's no need to really be guilt-ridden or anything like that. I mean, sure, you wanted to help them. I've done that. I've popped people and wanted to help them, but not with guilt. Okay, it's okay. We are where we are in life. In order to get out of that, we must experience that position. Does that make sense to you? Okay. One of the things I used to say as a fighter was, when you're not afraid and you're not angry, that energy comes up and it feels good. So the whole thing becomes like a dance as opposed to a problem. It becomes a dance. And you're excited. And your eyes are wide open and this is open. And that's not a person you particularly want to fight. Because they're not fighting. You follow what I'm saying? It's natural once we get out of the way. Now, the other thing about vibration, about listening to this, you don't have to hear it because it's independent of that. It will make the cells begin to vibrate naturally. So, one of the things about the intensity of the room that we had that we should have used a lot more than we did was that it was designed in such a way that it would intensify. And if you spent enough time in there, you would find yourself feeling that vibration. Yeah, yeah. So you would feel differently about things. You wouldn't get as upset about things. You wouldn't get bent out of shape if somebody almost hit you. They almost hit you and they went on and you went on. Everything was all right. You didn't get hit, so you see what I'm saying? Yeah. We get out of confrontations with people because that's not the issue. The issue is whatever the issue is. And we begin to think a lot more clearly, and that's one of the things that happens when we become more natural. We're not dealing with personalities or personal stuff. We're dealing with, here's the issue. If I hand you something with red lines and say, look, these words need to be corrected, or this sentence need to be corrected, just correct it. It's not personal. Part of our problem is everything is personal. See, that's the insecurity coming up. That's the insecurity saying, well, they're coming after me. No. Now you're wasting time when you could be doing what you were supposed to be doing and moving on and moving forward. We're wasting time now creating problems. So this is the advantage. If we did this as a world, we wouldn't have any problems. But that's not going to happen, so don't go around expecting that to happen. Because everybody's at different levels. The point is, you have to go. You can't take anyone with you. Look, in our time together, I've tried most everything I know to help you come along. Some things have been brutal. Some things have been very gentle and very soft. You can't take anyone with you. You can just provide the means whereby, if they have the spark, they will take it and use it. If not, they'll lag behind, playing in their own mess. Because that's what they want to do. They haven't introduced the spark. They don't have the spark. You know, it reminds me of people who go to church and every Sunday they get saved. Every Sunday, Lord, I'm saved. Leave there and do crap and come back and do it again. They don't have the spark to understand or to change and change the world. They're perfectly comfortable with the habit, with that circular habit. And now someone comes along who's not on that wheel and says, I think you're taking this personal. I just want the documentation. That angers them, and you have to be willing to know that they're going to be upset. The world is going to be upset with you. That's the way it goes. You know? I don't know. See, I understand how we put things in terms of a society. In order to be able to live together, we have to have laws, and we say, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's one thing. But in terms of the cosmic issues or the greater issues of humanity, I can't say that there is right and wrong. I can't. If I came at it from the perspective of what is smaller, I say what is smaller. Not understanding that life is forever. Not understanding that this is a process through which we go to lift ourselves. Okay? If you don't understand that, then you get pretty upset about the things that happen instead of just dealing with them. In view of the larger consciousness, you cannot rise unless you have mistakes, and then unless you have pain. But you have to deal with it in the right way. If you don't deal with it in the right way, it keeps you down. If we dealt with it in the right way, it wouldn't be any such thing as reincarnation. You wouldn't have to come back. You just go. But since we don't, we are victims. And that thing that is underlay it all, insecurity, is responsible. And if we don't understand that, then I'm not saying to rape a child is a good thing. I'm not saying that. But the rape of which child? The one who raped the child, who raped the child, who raped the child, who raped the child. What I'm saying about it is that we don't approach that in a way whereby we can change that ongoing thing in our society. We don't look at it that way. We don't understand how to make that change. And we have to. You're going to have compassion for this child and not that child that was there before. The child, the adult that was the child that still carries the child that was raped. The adult that was the child that still carries the child that was raped. See, we don't understand. We never stop the cycle. If we don't understand human consciousness and the nature of human beings, then we can't change it. If all we know is anger, all we produce is anger. If all we know is anger and fight and kill it, that's all we produce. Let's cuss. Yeah. The whole thing is yours. You said what you meant when you said my part in it. And I'm saying, I'm offering a correction to you. You don't have a part in it. You have a hole in it. A hole. You're totally responsible for what you did. I am totally responsible for what I did. Everyone here, every individual here is totally responsible for what they took on themselves. Totally. So, that is the only way in which one will be forgiven, because one has to be forgiven by oneself, is the only way that we will get to the bottom of any of it. That doesn't mean that something didn't happen out here. But you have to remember, this is an absolute. There's nothing you can do about that. So 100% of the responsibility of recovery is mine.
So
100%.
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. Right. That's the absoluteness of that. You yourself, you can't even say it was right or wrong or it was. If you are to recover, you must take absolute responsibility and say, wait a minute. They said this, but I was the fool who took it on. Okay, now I can get rid of it. Because I'm not going to be saying, well, and give myself any out to leave any fiber of that still in my being. I'm not saying hear me, I'm not on anybody's side. It's not who, it's what. In order to resolve that issue totally, I must take absolute responsibility. I took absolute responsibility for being raised the way I was in the South. The things, the anger and all that I had inside, it was like, okay, wait a minute, hold it. Yeah, that's true. But I made this part of my personality this way. I did it. And let it go. If I hadn't done that, I would not be able to even talk to a white person today, because there would be that thread. It's like, no, Here we go. This is it. I did this. Now I walk any place I want to walk. I am any place I want to be, and I don't care what anybody thinks about it, because I am a free man. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I said about this condition. I take absolute responsibility for that. Absolute. I made that choice. I could be a fairly wealthy person had I chosen to do some of the things that were presented to me. But this is what I do. I take responsibility for that. This is what I do. Money always kind of made me sick. Certain things always kind of made me a little ill in my doing them. It just made me a little ill. And I found out that as I did more and more of it, the more ill I became. And it was like, okay, I can't do this. But I take responsibility. I don't say the society should have made a place for me. You have to make a place for yourself. Absolute responsibility. Absolute. Okay? That is the only way you resolve it. The only way one resolves the problem. It's as simple as that. We may not want to believe it, but try it. Here's an exercise. You've been writing things down. Write down the next time you feel insecure. Make a line. Insecurity. What do I think? How do I behave? Make a line this way. When this happens, what happens? At this point, what happens? At this point, what happens? Give yourself a picture of how it works. It may help you clarify some things. Okay? And to be clear, to understand frees you. It does. The story of being in Tennessee and fighting that day was a story too about being a free man. Being called a nigger didn't anger me. It just let me see the situation. Okay. I see the situation. I see that the situation will be unfair. Therefore, what I have to do is eliminate any possibility. Knock him cold. When he's laying there with his toes sticking up in the air, what are you going to say? What are you going to say? Except, winner. Do what you need to do in your life. Give up those things that won't allow you the freedom to do it. Part of what it is start to work with your vibration. I've given you what the basis of this is. The basis of the problem with life. I've been given that. Now let's see if we can't take that back. Take back your position in life, naturally. Okay? Just take it back. You may find that when things are going wrong, so-called wrong, if you start focusing on those things, it gets worse. It gets worse. So what is the logical thing to do? Stop that. It's that simple. Is it really that simple? Go to your technique. Go to your technique. Work well. Phew. I didn't think I was going to get through this without upchucking. But we made it. Point? Point taken? All right. Thank you. You have a good day. Peace out.